I'd like to begin by telling you what these poems are and are not. First of all, they're not praise poems. While praise poems are fine in and of themselves, these poems are an attempt to get into the heads of mostly biblical characters and present them as more human and more human than they were presented in the Bible, in my opinion. These poems do not rhyme. They're what are called free verse poems. They don't have rhyme or meter. However, they do use other poetic devices like simile, metaphor, and alliteration. These poems are persona poems, and what that means is the poet steps into the character and speaks through the character. You'll see what I mean when I begin reading. I'm not a Bible scholar. I've not read the Bible cover to cover. I'm a poet. So why did I choose this as a subject? Well, I was raised in the traditional Catholic family, went to Mass every Sunday. We did the rosary once a week, my father leading the prayer. As I grew older, I became dissatisfied with the presentations and the sermons from the passages of the Bible, in that I just didn't feel these characters were acting in a way a normal human being would act in light of the incredible and ultimately so consequential events that they were exposed to. So I started thinking about how to express that, and I started writing poetry. And the subject sort of fell into place. And it took me about 10 years to write the poems that are in my book. And they are, some of the characters are very well known. Others are very obscure. And you'll see what I'm talking about as I go through the readings. Some of the stories, most of the stories are taken from the Christian Bible. Others from what are called the Gnostic Gospels. Some from early Jewish stories and texts, and other non-scriptural writings. There are 77 poems in the book. I could have written hundreds, but there's 77 that I chose to write on. And they're written in a simple conversational tone, which persona poems lend themselves to. And I'm not an Ezra Pound or a T.S. Eliot, so I don't use a lot of complex language in any of my poetry, but especially in persona poems because they're conversational. Okay, since the Christmas season is upon us, I'd like to begin by reading 3 poems that have to do with the Christmas season. And the first one is about Joseph. Joseph was Mary's husband. And in the Catholic tradition, at least when I was going to school, to catechism, Joseph was portrayed as an older man and Mary as a young girl. So this is Joseph. My hands still work in wood. Indeed, there is little of me that still works. My young wife is with child that is not mine. I am old and fathering children beyond me. A winged one came in my sleep and said that God is the father of this child. Could this be the dream of a doddering cockle grasping at some straw of dignity? My neighbors will look askance as her belly grows. What am I to say? Should I exclaim her youth and beauty inflamed an old man's desire? I am wretched and think only of myself. What of Mary and the babe? Will I keep ample strength till he grows to care for her? Will not suspicious eyes be cast her way, the stones gathered in accusation? Answers elude me. I am a fashioner of wood. Let my mind dwell on planks. Let God sort out the rest. Mary, I am just a girl. Why did he choose me? This messenger tells me I am to have a child and without a man. What will Joseph say? Will he think me unfaithful? He says I am honored above all women, but to expect a child without a spouse is shameful. How is this a blessing? If this is the will of God, how can I say no? A servant girl does not say no to the master, though her virtue is at stake. This next poem is in the voice of Casper. He was one of the wise men. And the title of this poem is The Magi. Ah, my friend, come, sit. It has been a long while. No, it is just me now. Melchior left us soon after, worn out by the journey. Balthazar gone just this year. Yes, we kept in touch. Who wouldn't? Yet it has been many years since we last heard anything about that boy in the barn. Maybe Herod found him after all, despite our precautions. We were so sure, the stars guiding us straight to him, the assured acceptance of the kingly gifts. All seemed correct and inevitable, but we returned with a sense of uncertainty, uncomfortable with the shifting of our time. Does the boy yet live? He is near a man now, if he does. Maybe a carpenter like his father. Maybe a fisherman. Will he be king? Stranger things happen, I know. Though this child troubled me, I see him still lying in the feed trough. Truly a king would be born in more comfortable surroundings. They called us wise, but I cannot see through this. My conflicted mind asks, could we have been wrong? Were we old fools already? I suppose I shall not know. My time is coming to its end. I am too old for another journey, and no word. Now I'd like to turn to a voice from the Old Testament. And this is one of the obscure people that is not even named in the Bible. I got her name from another source. It was a Jewish story about the flood. Reflections on the flood. I have many names, though the great book leaves me nameless. But I am Nama, the second Eve, mother of the only sons left of earth. My husband's great ark undulates on angry waves, no land seen for a long span. I recall the slither of serpents, the creaking weight of elephants, the raucous call of macaws, the smell of confusion and dung, the crowding, every type of animal on this boat, but no children. I still see the upthrust arms of mothers holding their babes as the sea swallowed them, their cries drowned by salty swirls. The innocent died with the wicked, no time for sorting by the great maker of time. The cruelty of Baal, the bloodthirst of Moloch are nothing to compare. Mankind performed those rituals. This God makes his own. And we'll go back to character in the New Testament. And obviously, Nama was upset with God. Lazarus in this story is upset with Jesus. Ah, Jesus, you do me no favors. You give me life, but not my life. You raise me up. Now, what am I to do? You were borne away with the crowd, shouting hosannas as the retreating tide pulls pebbles from the shore. I am like shells on the sand, empty, hard husk, standing out for the curious, but I shall not be picked up by wandering hands. Those who knew me, loved me, know me not now. I am not a phoenix reborn with youth and soaring strength, only Lazarus, already tottering to my second tomb. Those who loved me wept with joy with my return. How soon before their sidelong glances reveal the recollections that those little sins they know I know were resurrected too. How soon before the happy embrace is replaced by distance, carefully maintained, as if the death stink were still on me. I see my future years ahead, this unnatural soul moving alone through my unnatural days. My God, why have you forsaken me? There's two places, probably more, where in the Bible, where I think Jesus is portrayed as most human. One is in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he asks his Father to let the cup pass from him. The other was when he was on the cross and asked God why he had abandoned him. And this next poem is addressed by Mary while Jesus is on the cross. Mother of God. If I had known how this would end, I would have told the angel, no. Blood drips from your face onto mine and burns like acid poured from a cruet. Mothers should not live to bury their children. Your father, my unknowable lover, hid this from me, this final sorrow. You say you came for our redemption, but I hear your cry of abandonment. I am still here, my child. still here. And these last two poems are from very early writings in the Bible. This next poem is in the voice of the serpent. Tongue for Eve. Fruit hangs heavy from his tree, ripe and juicy. If I had hands to pluck, I would strip it bare, tear each limb from the trunk as he left me limbless. These creatures he loves, gives them all, but they are forbidden, though they have hands. My tongue shall be my tool, the forked end thrust into her innocent ear. Honeyed words shall ooze, and she shall do my injury. Why give you hands, my dear, if not to take, a tongue, if not to taste? This God made, so it must be good. My revenge is near. Now she reaches. And this last poem is one of two poems in the book that are not persona poems. These two poems were written in what is called third person omniscient. In other words, someone who's standing above it all and seeing everything and reporting. It's called Harvest. A murder of crows feasts on dried gore found in the field while Cain croaks. Am I my brother's keeper? They flap and caw, fuss for space over the sprawled boy, squabbling for choice parts cooked by the sun. Eve wrings her hands for her missing son, and Adam searches in all the wrong places. When he finds him, he will not recognize his bones. Thank you all for your attentiveness. I didn't see a lot of squirming around, so that's good. I appreciate your attention, and thank you very much.